Good morning and welcome everyone. I'm Councillor Steve Pitt. I'm the leader of Portsmouth City Council, but also the Cabinet Member for Culture, Regeneration and Economic Development, which is the theme for today's meeting. If the continuous fire alarm sounds, please evacuate the room and the public gallery via the stairwells. Don't attempt to use the lifts. Please assemble at Queen Victoria's statue. In order to comply with the Guildhall Trust Fire Marshal regulations, anyone who signed in at the Guildhall reception desk should sign out when leaving the building at the end of today's meeting. Everyone speaking via a microphone will be recorded and broadcast on the website, including those making deputations. Members of the press and public are also permitted to record the meeting on the understanding it neither disrupts the meeting nor records those explicitly stating they do not wish to be recorded. Please use the microphones and remember to switch them off when you have finished. We'll now make some introductions around the table. We know who I am. We will go to my left.
Lisa Gallagher, Democratic Services.
And back row.
Mark Woolnow, Recreation Manager.
And Cathy Hakes, Head of Museums.
Matt Humphrey, Artist Studios Development Manager.
Claire Watkins, Business Manager.
Owen Whiteway, Cultural Development and Projects Officer.
Mark Collings, Seafront Operations Officer.
Dave Percival, Library and Archive Service Manager.
Jane Singh, Visit Portsmouth Tourism Manager.
David Howells, Visit Portsmouth Digital Marketing Manager.
And budding comedian.
Councillor Russell Simpson, Hilsey Ward.
Morning all. Thank you very much. We have one apology for absence today, and that's from Councillor Mary Vallely, the Labour spokesperson for this portfolio, and we pass our condolences to Mary, who's currently on bereavement leave, mourning the loss of her mum. Item 2 is declarations of members' interests. None from me. Russell, no. None from you. That takes us to item 3, which is the Library and Archive Service Charges 2025. Dave Percival to present.
Thank you, Chair. So this is our annual report where we review our fines and charges. As you can imagine, there aren't many charges in the library service. We've broadly increased, made a modest inflationary increase to most of the charges. I should just clarify that we haven't increased music set and interlibrary loan charges as they were increased last year, and you can see that on the appendix, on the appendices, that's reflected in there. If there were any issues, we've done obviously the quality impact assessment on the increases. We do review every room bookings on an individual basis, but hopefully you can see that the increases are quite clear, the proposed increases on there, and some of the discounts that we do for charities and PCC colleagues for our room bookings.
Thank you, Dave. Russell, any comments or questions?
Just that it's really good that it hasn't gone up too much. I know that some of the parts of the library are getting a lot more usage now, which is really, really healthy too, bringing some money in. So yeah, no questions.
Okay, and nothing else from me. So there are some recommendations to be accepted. That the proposals in Appendix 1 for the increase in room and equipment hire charges, the menu and theatre on the 3rd floor Central Library, hire of IT training suites at Carnegie, Cosham and Central Libraries, and increases to interlibrary loan, music set and Portsmouth History Centre charges are agreed and implemented from 1st of April 2025. The increases have been proposed to ensure the full cost of recovery of service delivery. So that is approved. Thank you, Dave. That takes us to item 4, which is the museum admission charges increases. So that's Cathy.
Thank you, Chair. So this is the museum admission charge proposed increases. As we know, we run 6 museums in Portsmouth. 5 of them are free to our residents. These charges relate to the Charles Dickens Birthplace Museum, which has historically been very low priced, and again this fee is only for people out of Portsmouth residents to increase. For the D-Day story, again this is a charged attraction. We do very, very many things for local residents for free or no cost, most notably the sponsorship programme, where we've had funding raised for 2,500 primary school children from low income areas in Portsmouth to visit the D-Day story, including the coaches. These fees are necessary to bring us up to date with running the service, and also the income is then used to benefit other areas of the service, and also to help us do the work we need to do in managing our collections and things like that. So the charges have been thoroughly benchmarked against other attractions and are still very, very reasonable within the charge increase. if you can see in the table.
Thank you, Cathy. Russell, any questions?
No questions.
No, and none from me. It's important that we keep our charges competitive with similar attractions elsewhere, because that funding goes back into securing and enhancing the service. So no concerns at all from me. My page numbering on this pack's off. I'm just trying to find out where I'm supposed to be. 2 seconds. I think I'm here. Recommendations at the... no, that's the previous one. It's because we've got very long impact assessments. I'm struggling to find them now. Okay, it's helpful when we have the page numbers where they're supposed to be, which is on the meeting notes. Okay, so the recommendation to approve the admission charges and that Director of Culture, Leisure and Regulatory Services given authority to offer pricing in line with these fees and charges for bespoke requests. So that is approved. Thank you, Cathy. And we're staying with you for the Museum Strategy 2025-2030.
Oh, okay. So, yes, just to recommend that the achievements of the museum service over the last 5 years are noted, and that our strategy, vision, we are statements and our 5 key priorities that we've been working on over the last 18 months are approved to be included in our accreditation return. And the museum strategy is attached. So over the last 5 years, the museum service has shown resilience through lockdown. We've done a lot of youth work projects at the D-Day story, and we've put more collections online. We've generated funding income from NHLF and the Arts Council. We've created a new art gallery. We've had a very successful D-Day 80 story year with incredible growth in admissions and retail income, which again supports the wider service. Lots of partnership work with the National Military Museums in particular and the British Museum most recently with the Ancient Sudan partnership. And again, something we're very proud of is the ongoing sponsored learning programme, and we're still working hard to keep that going. So hopefully there'll be an ongoing legacy of children being able to visit the D-Day story who wouldn't otherwise do that. And we're also managing the AHRC-funded collaborative doctoral partnership scheme, again, which is setting us up with lots of national partnerships. In terms of the strategy, we really do need to show more evidence-based approaches in publicising the impact of the museum service, especially so we can draw in more funding for the museum service. So we're going to be publishing that in April. And the clear strategic direction is needed for the service to better deliver in more focused work areas and have a more measurable impact, so we can really measure what we're doing and who we're doing it for, and make sure we are delivering our core purpose and priorities. So within that, we've created we are statements that set the scene for what we are and what we stand by, and we have a vision that we will always work towards. So our core purpose is to give local communities and individuals the opportunity to engage with the city's amazing heritage and for people to tell their stories and be inspired, learn new things, gain new skills, and feel happier and more optimistic about the future. Sorry, I've lost the page now.
Happens to us all.
So we developed the We Are statements, as you can see on the report, and we've been working really to just look at everything in detail and see how we can better work in the areas of visitor experience, income generation, but our core focus overall is going to be community engagement as we move forward.
Thank you, Cathy. Just to draw out those We Are statements, we are champions of Portsmouth history and culture, welcoming, inclusive and community-driven, listening to and engaging with our audiences, resourceful and focused on sustainability, and passionate, inspiring and thought-provoking. Russell, comments or questions?
I originally didn't have one, but I've got one now. As number one is community engagement. How are we looking at the reach, especially with the community engagement from all parts of the city for the museums?
We've been working on that with things like the pop-up museums. I think the sponsored learning programme is a good indication of that kind of work we want to do. So we can, if we can't move the museums physically as a whole, we can create pop-up museums, but we can bring people in if we can fund that. So I think that's a good example. With our sort of online engagement, and the publicity we've had, we hope that by just having extensive publicity and marketing the museums, that will draw more people to visit who haven't. Because we know, although we're seeing our visitor numbers go up, there's still, you know, many, many thousands of people who've never visited the museums. So we will continue to do that and work in partnership with different organisations, like we worked with Secret Create recently, and that was specifically to link into their networks with the Sudan exhibition. So we had another way of bringing people in from across the city.
The other reason I mention this is because I know later on we're going to have about marketing and how we market in London, and they're always very visible. And there are like billboards around Portsmouth and other areas that we could probably like maybe put posters up to make people more aware of A, we have an exhibition, and B, it's free. The last one that really springs to mind is actually the Silver. When we had the Silver, and that was everywhere. It didn't make a difference where you went in the city, you saw the billboard, and I kind of feel that we haven't kind of followed suit with that with some of the other exhibitions, and I'm wondering if that's something we could look into to really increase our reach.
I think we do that, but it might be that it depends on the poster sites and the bookings that they've had commercially as to what availability there is for us to use them. Cathy?
Yeah, no, we extensively use poster sites. I think Claire could attest to that. We're probably one of her best customers, to be honest. We do. There's a lot of posters. I mean, at the moment, there's Ancient Sudan, but there was one point when around the city, I think there was maybe 3 of our exhibitions in concurrent were on poster sites, so we were actually very visible. I think there is work to be done in community engagement, absolutely, and we need to get out more. I think getting in schools is key, actually. And getting that sort of direct engagement. So it's by what we're doing with our strategy and the way we're changing things, we will have a much stronger community team, and the community team will then have much more capacity to do that.
Cool, okay. Yeah, I'm happy too. So let's come back to where we are. So the recommendations are that the achievements of the museum service over the last 5 years are noted, which they are, and that the draft museum strategy, vision, statements and 5 key priorities are approved to be included in the accreditation return and form the basis for the more detailed forward plan. That's approved, and it is approved for the museum's strategy along with annual impact report to be created in this accessibly designed document that is fit for public consumption and published in April 2025. Also approved. Thank you very much, Cathy.
Thank you.
We're now going over to Claire Watkins to discuss revenue clients funding.
Thank you, Chair. So the provision of support to cultural organisations has got a long history in Portsmouth. And with the revenue funding, the core funding works as initial leverage funding to enable organisations to seek further financial support from national bodies such as Arts Council England and National Lottery Heritage Fund. As set out in the report, all grant payments are supported by service level agreement reporting, which mandates specific criteria are met, together with the purposes of the individual grants. This year, the leader of the council and portfolio holder of culture has agreed with the support of 4 other cultural organisations that there will be a temporary 2-year uplift in the support of aspects. This is to support aspects over the next 2 years as they prepare their national portfolio organisation application to Arts Council England. I'd also like, on behalf of the council, to put on record our thanks to the organisations for providing the support without straining the funding envelope. And lastly, just to note, the support to the Guildhall, it says 172 in the report, but the adjustment for new financial year is 103, and we will get this amended. Our apologies. Thank you.
Thanks, Claire. And I think that was due to them drawing down the previously agreed match funding that they were able to for the base project, plus the support for aspects. So I'd just also like to reiterate my thanks to the King's, the New Theatre Royal, Portsmouth Guildhall, and Bournemouth Symphony Orchestra for the slight reductions in their funding in order to support Aspects. The background to this is that Aspects is a national portfolio organisation of Arts Council England, and that they have not had an uplift in their MPO funding since 2012, I think. So with the extended period this time, it's really stretching them. So in discussion with other partners, we've made those adjustments with the intention of putting them back to their previous positions in 2 years' time. Worth noting, though, that we are fairly unusual as a local authority in this day and age of the amount of revenue grant support that we do give to cultural organisations in the city. And I want to place on record yet again my fears that local government reorganisation will put that at risk. But we carry on with a steady ship as we are for now. Russell, comments or questions?
Yeah, I actually do have quite a few questions with this one. I mean, as you well know, I'm from a very creative cultural background, and when I was looking at the revenue grants and the proposed grants, you know, I'm for all of them. However, I know very much what New Theatre Royal and King's Theatre does for outreach programs. It's like pretty clear, you know, work in schools. I talk to schools, they always talk about the New Theatre Royal, how great it is, especially around Christmas time with the King's Theatre. However, with the Bournemouth Symphony Orchestra, what outreach programs and what and where? Because in the last 2 years, I've not actually seen anything, and I've not heard from any schools, and I know a lot of students that are at different schools. And, you know, last I checked, the Gabriella Consort did an amazing concert in 2022 at the Portsmouth Cathedral. That was something that they ran for their own scheme through the summer. I'm just really curious, because it says an outreach programs. I'm just curious to know what they are.
They are fairly extensive. Claire?
So I can get some more information on that to follow up after the meeting, but I don't have it to hand at the moment.
No, if Claire Looney was here, she would know. But it is a properly organised outreach programme that runs year in, year out. Dougie Scarf and the team over there at Bournemouth Symphony Orchestra have been partners of the schools programme for a long time, and with the BSO being an MPO, it's part of our partnership arrangement with them. So, but there is quite a lot happening, and we can always get an addendum to the report to answer that question.
Yeah, I'd be quite curious to know what schools as well, especially. That'd be a really, really good thing to find out. Also to add, concerning the BSO, as it stands, do we have a council representative that sits with the BSO?
No, we don't.
That's all my questions. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thanks very much. No questions from me, because obviously I was intrinsically involved in putting this together, so thank you very much indeed. All of the suggestions are adopted. So the detailed recommendation is that revenue grant payments are outlined as agreed for the financial year 2025-26, so approved. Thank you very much. That takes us on to item 7, which is the blue plaques policy. So Owen, over to you.
Thank you, Leader. So this report provides an update to the Council's memorial policy from 2018. It details the background of blue plaques in the city and the national schemes that support them across the country. It benchmarks this against the policies of other local authorities to ensure consistency of approach, and sets out the current situation and rationale for a new blue plaque policy. The report details the criteria for applying for a memorial and for decommissioning them, and then it sets out the process for application and what is needed from the applicant for a successful blue plaque application.
Thank you, Owen. Any questions?
Long overdue, I think. There's lots of blue plaques that need to go up.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't help when the government mucked around with the previous policy, leaving us a bit in limbo along with everywhere else around the country. But now we've got some certainty around it, we can look to sort that out and move it forward. So the recommendations are that we approve the adoption of the blue plaques policy as presented. I've got no suggested changes. In that case, it's approved, Owen. Thank you very much indeed. We're over to item 8 on the agenda now, which is back with Cathy for the VE and VJ commemorations 2025.
Thank you. So I'm presenting this on behalf of Lydia today. So again, we have another significant year as the world reflects on the 80th anniversary of V-Day on the 8th of May 1945 and VJ Day on the 15th of August 1945. So again, as there's now fewer and fewer veterans of the Second World War still living, it's increasingly important that we take steps to keep this history alive and relevant. It is important to note that such significant anniversaries as VE Day and VJ Day and the significance of them to the city, it is an opportunity to both honour the veterans and support the engagement of residents and visitors in the history of the city and the role played in the Second World War. And the council plan seeks to ensure the city is a welcoming, vibrant, inclusive place to live and visit, and all of these celebrations will link into that. So planned events on Sunday, the 4th of May 2025, a multi-faith commemorative service is planned to take place on Governor's Green in southwest Portsmouth. This service will honour veterans with a range of readings, prayers and reflective accounts from leaders from a variety of faiths and community representatives. Following the service on Governor's Green, there will be a laying of a wreath at sea honouring the position of Portsmouth as a naval city. Officers engaged with the Governor's Green event will also seek to engage with the volunteers who look after the open days at Royal Garrison Church to involve them alongside the service. The Portsmouth History Centre will be working through their archives in the months leading up to the commemorative dates to select local images from the time from their photographic store. These will be formed into public displays for April, May and August. The History Centre are also looking at how images from VE Day street parties in May 1945 can be turned into temporary plaques for the streets where they took place. There is also potential to add QR codes to the plaques so that residents can engage, share and interact with the commemorations. Just before VE Day, on the 6th of May, we will launch the Victory in 80 Objects project, and we're working with 5 military museums in this country, and it's building on the successful D-Day and 80 Objects project. So we have created a publication, a website is being created, and there will be 80 social media posts between VE Day and VJ Day shared across the country, sharing the stories of these objects of this time, and this will bring focus on and make accessible collections from our national and local military museums and continue to keep these stories of VE Day and VJ Day alive. The D-Day story is leading this project, and the project will generate publicity and audience growth for the venue. And we will be using a variety of media to promote the project and increase reach. An oral history project has also been delivered by the D-Day story, working with the university, called Memories of the Second World War in Portsmouth, as it could be the last significant opportunity to capture thoughts of this generation. And the project will invite veterans to the D-Day story to participate in short interviews to capture their memories and experiences of war and life in Portsmouth. And the videos will be shared on the museum's social channels and website, and also added to our museum collections. And again, the project will raise awareness of the local context of the war in Portsmouth, but also raise awareness of the D-Day story. And we're also planning a day at the D-Day story on the 11th of May, which will be a more celebration type approach, sort of based on street parties and music and reenactors and vehicles as well, and that will be on the 11th of May. Following the government's announcement on the 5th of March 2025, encouraging residents to organise street parties over the bank holiday weekend, the events team is working with residents to support them with their street party applications. Funding has been agreed to provide road closure signage and barriers to cover the costs of the advance warning notices to be displayed ahead of closing a road, and to provide basic public liability insurance. Organisers will still need to complete a street party application and provide the necessary safety-related documentation. So it's for information only.
Thank you, Cathy. Russell, any questions?
Yeah, I have a few suggestions. Funny enough, I feel like I'm going back to Agenda 7, Item 7 actually, because they're both about plaques. One of the QR tags, I wouldn't say they've gone out of date now, but technology moves very fast. And one of the things that I've noticed that's become more trendy now is NFC tags. That stands for Near Field Communication. And they're really cheap, like they're literally like £1 each, and they just stick it on the back of a plaque, and someone goes to the phone and goes beep, and it takes you straight to the website. I think that'd be a really good idea to add that to the QR code as well. It's a really cheap addition to add, and it will bring us a little bit more of the technology. But you can also just get random stickers as well, so you can get bulk of stickers and give it out, and people can stick it and they can tag each other, have a bit of fun with it, and maybe each one could lead to a different fact. Or, as I say, if it's tagged near a certain area, it could give a certain history of the area. I'd love to see one. I'm going to call it Hillsey now, but at the Hillsey Victorian forts, because I think that'd be really good. It's really relevant as well. So that's one suggestion. Second, it's not more suggestion; it's more of a question. Are we going to have plaques for like the best How parties, like we did in the Jubilee and Platinum? Is that going to be something that we're going to distribute like we have previously?
No.
Okay.
But on the other point, Cathy?
Yes, thank you. That's noted. I will pass that on to the library service, so I will drop them an email straight after this with your recommendation, suggestion. Thank you.
And the other one is just purely because of funding. There's no funding allocated for it this time. Unhelpfully, the government told us on the 5th of March, with 2 months' notice, what they were planning to do. And at that point, we only had 10 applications for street parties. So it was seeming to be something that was very low on the radar this year. But then, obviously, once they make an announcement, people get more interested, which is great, but leaves very little time to organise anything else or allocate a budget to it. So I've had to rustle up enough money in order to be able to do the cover the public liability for the street parties. So we're not being bar humbug. It's just a pragmatic reality that we're in. Thanks very much for that, Kathy. I'm particularly interested to see some of the plaques for the showing street parties that happened in certain locations 80 years ago, and wondering whether those streets might then try and replicate that image and really get involved, but also understand the difference. I think the other key thing to remember, of course, is that they were holding street parties under the rationing system. So they would have been very different. So I'm not expecting people to necessarily copy the menu this time round, or otherwise there'll be rather a lot of spam. But all duly noted, and obviously we look forward to both celebrating and commemorating as appropriate, the VE and VJ 80th anniversaries. So thank you for that. The item 9 then takes us to Mark Collings, who's going to talk to us about the water safety management update.
Thank you, Chair. This is information-only report update on water safety management. In February 2024, the Council adopted a water safety management policy, which was a formalisation of the existing good work being done around water safety. Part of that work was to map and zone the city around the coastline and inland water bodies, which was a task myself and a water safety consultant undertook. One of the items in the policy was advocating for the existence of working groups, and we have 2 working groups, a water safety forum hosted by Seafront Services, which encompasses all the external organisations such as RNLI, local harbour masters, Maritime and Coast Guard Agency, very well supported and a good forum. And we also have an internal stakeholder group, which is myself and the Parks Department, given most of the areas under those, but we also work with the likes of economic development where they may own or manage a particular piece of land. So we work closely there. We also employ the RNLI for beach lifeguarding services. We've been doing that for over 10 years, and the contract and service agreement has just been extended to 2027 and may well extend further beyond that. And they will be in 2 locations this year, and that gives residents and visitors the confidence that they can swim safely between 10 and 6 in high season, July and August. Worth pointing out that the evolution of water safety management as we go, it's something that's constantly monitored, but a good example where we've got coastal works rolling through the seafront and changing the dynamic. We've got rock foreshores where we haven't had before and things like that. So we invite our water safety consultant to come down nearer the completion of each section just to advise us on the right rescue equipment, signage. We have a good idea of what we want, but we use his expertise just to confirm the right things and improve our signage in some places as well.
Thank you, Mark. Yes, I know Cliff Nelson is regarded as a leading expert on this stuff nationally, so it's always good to have his engagement with us. Russell, anything? No, nothing from me either on this one, because it is an update effectively. So just noting that, but it is important because we never, just historically, that never used to be an annual thing that we brought forward, and we do now. So it's important that we do, and we keep an eye on things just in case the situation changes. As Mark says, with the changing landscape, it's important to stay on top of it. So thanks for the update, Mark, much appreciated.
I was just going to add just very quickly, as you said that, it's just, yeah, I think it's important that we do have it yearly, especially not just on South Sea seafront, but around all the coast on both sides, especially when it comes to safety. We know sometimes that certain things get thrown into the sea, and so it's always good that it's maintained and checked regularly. So yeah, I agree with you, Chair. Cool.
Thank you very much. In that case, all noted. We move on to item 10 on the agenda, which is the Hot Walls Artist Studios update from Matt.
Thank you, Chair. This is our annual information report for the Hot Walls Artist Studios. The studios continue to grow as a cultural hub We have 3 big seasonal markets and monthly open studios which give ample opportunity to explore the artistic talent. Several artists have started hosting regular workshops both in the Round Tower and their studios, and recently these have collaborated with other venues around the city like the museum and Victoria Park. The Hot Walls team have helped curate open calls and exhibitions off-site, including the windbreaks, alongside the Seafront Arts Programme and the recent Ukrainian photography exhibition in the Central Library. Going forward, our focus is on increasing public awareness of the studios and establishing collaborative ventures between local businesses and artists through a grant scheme.
Thank you. Russell, any questions or comments? No, I mean, it's great to see the work ongoing. I know you've only recently moved the market from the third Sunday to the first Sunday. Any initial feedback in whether that's made any difference, really?
The open studios?
Yeah.
Yes, that has made an impact, mainly because it's closer to payday.
Yeah.
So we get larger footfall down there.
Okay, and a slight change in the opening times?
Yeah, we're going to be shifting towards a 10 a.m. start instead of an 11 a.m. start.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down there on a Sunday, as you know, because we often bump into each other, and the footfall's quite significant at 10 a.m.
Absolutely, yeah.
Good, okay.
Thank you.
All noted. I don't think there's anything I wanted to add on that. I'll only to say that partly because of the work that we've done with the Hot Walls historically, many moons ago I was on the working group that was advising on setting it up in the first place. It goes back about a decade. I've been invited to talk on a national panel at the UK Reef Conference in May, so I'll make sure that I champion your greatest hits. So thanks very much to Matt, all duly noted. Moving on to item 11, it's the visitor tourism and visitor economy update from Jane. And just before we go into this, I just want to thank you both for the excellent event at the start of the week. I'd had a tricky weekend personally, so it was nice to have something positive to engage with, and particular thanks to David for his incredible humour in his presentation at the end, which really made everyone smile. So thank you both very much.
Thank you, Chair. This report updates on activity over the last year by the Visit Portsmouth team and against the 3 main priorities in the current tourism and visitor economy strategy. As an interim report has already been submitted, this one focuses more on the second half of the year. The key Visit Portsmouth website traffic stats to the end of January 25 were over 981,000 sessions from over 724,000 users and more than 1.7 million page views. There is detail included also about the demographics of the web users. Looking at social media outside of the paid campaign results outlined in the report at Appendix 1, our social media channels, Facebook and Instagram, achieved more than 3 million impressions and a reach of nearly 3 million. When we look at the paid campaigns in the summer and autumn at Waterloo and the paid social media campaign running alongside, the headline results were over 18 million impressions and over 6 million reach. A new creative was used for the campaign in February, and another run of this will happen towards the end of this month. It actually starts on Monday. We achieved an extra week in February, which was worth £10,000, after asking for any assistance due to the engineering works potentially disrupting the benefit of the campaign we were running at half-term. The report also lists marketing activity and results for the winter season with a focus on promotion of our seasonal events and activity that took place. Much of our international marketing takes place in the second half of the year. We were represented at a trade mission to Frankfurt, shared stand space with Isle of Wight Tourism at the Canty Bears Tourism Show in Netherlands, and met with 27 international buyers at the Britain and Ireland Marketplace event. We've also recently been represented at a trade mission to France and another to New York and Toronto, the latter. For the North America market, the report will be expected soon for that one. We also work, of course, closely with the Port and Brittany Ferries. We're keen to ensure local businesses maximise the benefit of the growing cruise offer, and we've just launched a guide working with the cruise for businesses this month. As members of England's Coast, we're also included in more domestic and international marketing that they carry out. For the group market, we worked with the Royal Maritime Hotel on a visit of group organisers in September, which was very well received, and we also had a Visit Portsmouth stand with partners at Excursions Trade Show at Wembley in February. We continue to support their meetings, incentives, conferences and events market with membership at the Meet Beyond London campaign for our more senior partners, and this year we also joined a Meet Beyond London stand at the PA show, offering our platinum partner Portsmouth Historic Dockyard a spot on the stand for the show's second day. We continue to provide the visitor information service with information points at the Hard and across the city. Partnership working is absolutely key to what we do, and we exceeded our income target this year. Along with the larger paid campaigns, the income funds the creation of the Visit Portsmouth Visitor Guides and Mini Guides, which we launched just before Christmas and are now out for distribution. We meet with our partners regularly and ask them to feed into our plans for the future year. The Hampshire, Portsmouth and Southampton Local Visitor Economy Partnership application will hopefully be approved this month, and this will ensure that we're fully represented with national tourism bodies, Visit England and Visit Britain. We work with colleagues across PCC, and some of this activity is noted in the report. In January, we again ran our annual visitor survey, and the full results are at Appendix 2. It was pleasing to see a small increase in visitors using train to travel to the city rather than car, that over 90% had a good or great time, and that more than 78% are planning to come back.
Cool, thank you, Jane Russell. Questions or comments?
No, actually, I think because we kind of talked about the elements of this already last time, actually, I think when we spoke, especially from the marketing point of view, so no, I've got nothing to add, Chair. Okay, a couple of things from me. I actually think that the shift by, is it 4.5% to train from car is actually quite significant and very encouraging. And the response and feedback positivity is very encouraging as well, and in line with what we've seen in previous years. I always say that people say the other person's grass is always greener. People are often critical of the place where they live, but perhaps the best way to view a place is through the eyes of people who don't live there, and clearly people who visit the city have a very positive opinion on it, which is very welcome, and that's why we are doing so well in terms of our tourism numbers. The survey results in depth are definitely worth a look through, so if anyone is watching this online, please click through and check that detailed feedback, and long may that continue. I think I do have some concerns about, again, to do with devolution and local government reorganisation. I think I'm right in saying that very soon the two of you will be the only dedicated tourism team in the entire county, which speaks volumes about the deficit and prioritising the visitor economy in other areas in Hampshire, and that's something we want levelled up, not levelled down. So I know that our Silent Growth Partnership colleagues agree with us, and that's why funding's been allocated. We just need to make sure that the area that's currently under the County Council also takes this seriously. There is some changes that are afoot that will, in my view, not be helpful, and therefore it will be even more important that we work very closely with our immediate neighbours around their tourism offer as we move forward. But for now, all duly noted, so thank you very much. And the final item is an update on the Guildhall from Mark.
Thank you, Chair. The purpose of this information report is to update members on recent key developments and changes at the Guildhall as part of the cultural offer in Portsmouth. The report details some of the highlights during the last 18 months and provides details of the very successful community event programmes such as Dance Live and Comic Con. A key part of the Guildhall Trust's work is to provide opportunities to introduce young people to creative engagement. A recent highlight of this work was during the summer of 2024 with the transformation of the basement of the building into the base, a creative space for young people aged 11 to 25 years old. The base provides access to equipment for young people that is not available in formal education. Any 11 to 25-year-olds within the Portsmouth postcode area are offered free membership either by signing up online or registering on their first visit. This removes any barriers to young people from accessing the facility, for example, those from deprived areas. To date, membership comprises 300 young people. The base project also included a comprehensive refurbishment of the Guildhall's toilets to provide accessible facilities, including a changing places toilet. New for August 25, the Guildhall are promoting 2 summer concerts in the Guildhall Square in partnership with the Bournemouth Symphony Orchestra, with both concerts being supported by community activity in the square during the daytime. Looking to the future and following the completion of the base project, the Trust are keen to now maintain the momentum in redeveloping the Guildhall in what they have called the Guildhall Renaissance, details of which are included in the report. The Trust are currently reviewing associated costs and funding options and are keen to progress when possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Good to have an update. Russell, anything?
There's no question, it's just that it's like some of the improvements are really nice actually. So it's some paint jobs as well in there, so yeah, it's all good.
Yes, it's nice to have toilets that aren't from the 1950s, but the base project's obviously bedding in really well, which is good to see. 300 young people accessing that, which is significant given the amount of time it's been running, and it'd be really good to see how those BSO concerts in the square go over the summer, because it'll be far more accessible to people, and I know the programming that they're looking at for that is particularly accessible, so that's good to see. So thank you very much for the update report, and it is noted, and members and colleagues, that concludes today's meeting. Thank you very much.